shaka. Double shaka means you're gonna go.
Sorry, I got a camera up there.
Yeah.
I think I'll say Mike's over.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that.
Sounds good.
And then I'll start rolling with the demos. I'm guessing maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Are we going to be looking at the camera?
Still?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. 62 events stretching almost 3 months. It would drop by about 1 meter at a time. And that leaves us with the larger pit that we see here today, including these large fault scarps here on the eastern side of the crater. So what you see there, what we call the downdrop block with the 1982 fissures on it, that used to be at the same level as the rest of the caldera floor over here, but it gradually slid down over the course of those 3 months. The 2018 eruption concluded on August 5th of that year. The earthquakes in the summit area that were associated with those collapse events, they just kind of died off. The eruption slowed dramatically on the East Rift Zone. Little drebs of lava still came out over the course of the next month, but the main effusion phase ended on August 5th. And then Kilauea was quiet thereafter. We were all speculating about when lava might return. The most recent example of an eruption similar to 2018 in 1924 saw some crater filling eruptions in the years thereafter for about a decade or so. And so we thought overlying the magma chamber down there a kilometer below, when the magma tries to come up again, is it going to explosively interact with that water? Well, we learned what was going to happen on December 20th of 2020, when eruptive fissures broke out in the wall of Halemaumau crater after a brief period of seismicity in the summit and on the upper East Rift Zone. But there was no explosive eruption. Lava poured down from those fissures into the bottom of the crater, and it boiled off the 50-meter deep water lake in about 45 minutes. So a volume of water about the size of Aloha Stadium gone in 45 minutes. And so that eruption, as I said, started December 20th of 2020. It slowed down after the first few days, but it continued into May of that year. And in late May of 2021, we saw the last evidence of lava activity at the surface, and again, the summit region went quiet. Not a lot of earthquakes. No, was in late August of 2021 when there was a seismic swarm both below the summit and into the upper southwest rift zone, an area that has not erupted since 1974. And coincidentally, the earthquakes were very close to the region of the 1974 vents, right behind us here in the South Caldera region. And there was a lot of speculation that we might see an eruption of that kind once again. But it didn't pan out. The earthquake activity slowed down, and for the next month, Kilauea was quiet once again until September 29th of last year, and that's where I'm going to hand it over to Ho'ola'i at this time.
Yeah, so in Olelo, Hawaii, we have a term called a mo'olelo. Can you guys say a mo'olelo?
Mo'olelo.
Oh, that's pretty good. Wow. So a mo'olelo means a story, right? And our stories are accounts of our experience as humans, our cultural experience that we get from our ecosystems and our environments, but also natural phenomena that happen. So I'm going to share a story with you guys. Perhaps you guys have heard it. I'll go into why this kind of pertains to an eruption. But eruptions let us know that Pele Honuamea, is still home. Right? And Pele isn't just a destructive force, as a lot of people tend to think lava and eruptions to be, but that Pele is also a creative force, and there's this process known as a huli hia. Can you guys say huli?
Huli
Hia.
hia.
There you go, and that means a catastrophic change or a dramatic change over time. So long ago, in the place called Kahiki, there was a little girl named Namaka, right? Or that's her shorthand name. We'll keep it nice and easy. Namaka, and her parents had a baby. So by a show of hands, how many of you have siblings? Does she you have a little sibling?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay, cool. Right, so how many of you are the eldest? Yeah, how many of you are the youngest? Okay, so you guys are really going to shine in this story. Really we'll see this relationship happen. But Namaka's parents end up having another child, right? That child's name was Pele Honua Mea. You guys say Pele?
Pele.
Honua
Honua.
Mea.
Mea.
Right, but we call her Pele for short. So she's born, and Namaka, being the older sister, is recognizing all this love and attention and affection going to this new baby. And Namaka's like, I don't think she's that cool. Where's my love? Little did she understand, new baby needs a lot of care. So, as Pele gets older, we start to learn that she has the ability to control fire, right? Eruptions. And she learns from her uncle and is gifted certain tools to help her harness that power. Well, one day, Pele was up on a nice hill, right? Let's just imagine Mauna Loa being the place, right behind us. And she notices every time she jams this digging stick into the ground, more lava comes out, right? A stronger eruption happens. So, she's kind of being a little bit of a scientist here, and she figures, I'm going to jam it really hard into the ground, right? So she jams it into the ground, and out erupts this huge, and as it's going down, it accidentally burned down her older sister, Namaka's home, right? So how's that for islands, right? And they start off in the area that's now known as Papahanaumokuakea, right? The Hawaiian National, or the Marine National Monument, right? In the western Hawaiian Islands, and slowly starts working her way down, right? Namaka comes home to see her house in ashes, completely taken by the lava. And she immediately realizes, oh, Pele. So she goes and hunts her sister down. Right, so the first of their battles begins on the island of Ni'ihau, right? And they get up to Ni'ihau, and they have this battle. Pele realizes, like, oh, I can't take Namaka, so she jumps to Kauai, right? And Namaka follows Pele to Kauai and continues to follow her sister throughout the island chain until they reach Maui, right? Does everybody know where Maui is? Okay, yeah, it's the one with the nice beaches and the big, the, what do you call it? The humpback whales breaching, right? All the calendars. I digress. So, she reaches Maui, and at this point in her training, she's like, you know what? I can take my older sister. I'm done running. So they have this huge battle, right, in what's believed to be the district of Hana. And they have this huge battle that shook the world and caused new land to come up, where Pele actually dies, right, or dies. And she, her wailua, her spirit, her uhane, leaps up into the sky and takes the form of, I don't know if you look around, but you see this kind of haziness to our left over here. So that haziness is one of the forms that she can take, right? So she took this form and she traveled over from Maui here to Halema'uma'u, where she slowly started getting stronger and stronger and became the Pele we know today, right? This force of creation and destruction all wrapped in one. And that the stories, right, that this story teaches us that sometimes we have to go through pauses. We have to go through moments that are just really hard, or even moments that are just kills you inside, right? To become a better, stronger version of who you are and who you're meant to be. That's the story of Pele Honua Mea coming here, and that's what I kind of felt would be a good thing to share with you guys. And so, mahalo. I'll turn it back over to my colleague.
So it's 3:18 right now. We're coming up close on the eruption start time, which is about 3:21 last year. Now, the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory's first indication that something might happen up here at the summit was a bunch of earthquakes that started firing off below the summit, and again in the Upper East Rift Zone. That seems to be a common area for earthquakes when the summit is going to erupt again. Shortly thereafter, the tilt meter that we have just over here behind the old Hawaiian Volcano Observatory building started to show that the summit was tipping, and that was because it was inflating with new magma coming close to the surface. At the same time, a team of Hawaiian Volcano Observatory geologists was over near Kapapala Ranch at a place called Ohikea, which is a famous ash deposit where they were studying old layers from explosive eruptions here at the summit. And one of the seismologists called them like, hey, you guys might want to go back over to the crater. Something's fishy over there. They started coming back down from the ranch. When they were at the gate, they looked over and saw a huge cloud billowing out of the crater. And they got in the car and raced over here so that they could go down and take a look at the lava lake. I was unfortunately back at my desk. I did not get to see the fun that day, but I got a call from one of those geologists like, hey, go look at the webcam. And sure enough, we looked down at the old crater floor that was remaining from the December to May eruption, and new fissures were cutting through the middle of it and along the sides in very similar positions to the vents that had fed the first eruption. So it suggested that magma traveled to the surface in a very similar path as it did before. So there we go, 321, right on time.
So
Happy
what does
birthday.
it sound like when it erupts?
Well, it actually sounds very, very loud because there's enormous amounts of gas rushing out. Some people will liken it to a jet engine. But since I was not here, I'm going to actually pass it back to Hawai'i briefly so he can describe what he saw from over the other side of the crater that day.
Yeah, so I wasn't able to hear it, right? But if we look to my right, you guys see that red building? Right, so that's Volcano House. So we're going to use our handy dandy Hawaiian measurements. I want you guys to raise a thumb, right? Thumbs up. I want you to put the length of your thumb to the right of Volcano House. Right? So right where your thumb tip is kind of a ballpark area of where our education center is. That's where I was working and stationed at that time. And over there, I was sitting at my desk, and where I was working, there's this nice big window, right? Beautiful window looking out at the forest around us. And within our stories, there's this phenomena that happens during eruptions, and that's called Kanehoalani, right? And it's a particular kind of sun. And maybe Mike can jump or elaborate into why this happens. But when eruptions begin, the sun will glow a almost scarlet red in color. So I'm over there at my desk, and I have all the light, right? This is later in the day. And the sun comes in, and it's just red. All where the light is touching is just red. I was like, huh, oh, that's weird. And then my lovely supervisor, Kekoa, he was actually at home. And he told us that if there was an eruption, he would blast the group chat, and he would come racing from his house here because he wanted to view it and be a part of it. So that's exactly what happened. My phone started pinging that there was an eruption that had begun. So from the Ed Center, right, where we are, if you look a little bit more, there's kind of that clear face on the cliff. That's known as Keanakako'i. That's one of the overlooks that you can go to view the eruption now. But I ran over there with some of my co-workers, and we're looking, and there we could see the very tips of the lava fountains that Mike had mentioned, but you just see this huge plume of smoke, all while there's this red, scarlet red light coming from the sun over everything. It was really spectacular. Yeah.
What Hawai'i is describing is the sulfur dioxide that is associated with the breakout of new eruptions. And there's still some sulfur dioxide coming out here, but at the beginning of a new eruption, there's often a lot of it. And that's because that sulfur dioxide has been accumulating at the top of the magma chamber when the volcano wasn't erupting. And so when it finally breaks through and makes its way to the surface again, a lot of that gas rushes out. And it creates that red color on the sun because light diffuses slightly differently through sulfur dioxide gases compared to what it would through water vapor in a cloud or something like that. So that all that gas rushing out was also propelling enormous amounts of lava out, and that's why we saw such high lava fountains at the very beginning of the eruption. The eruption rates were about 100 cubic meters per second or more of lava coming out for the first several hours of the eruption. But it eventually tailed off as that gas was expended. The propellant force was dwindling, and eventually, over time, the eruption has settled into a lower effusion rate of about 2 to 4 cubic meters per second. So that's probably about the size of the Trig monument here. So you can imagine an amount of volume about that size coming out every second down there into the lava lake. As the eruption started, it filled the whole crater floor with fresh lava. It was completely molten. But an interesting thing happened over the course of the next couple days. There were these islands remaining on the crater floor from the very beginning of the first eruption that started in December of 2020. Those islands are remnant pieces of when the lava was interacting with the water lake down there. It's what we call hyaloclastite. It's a slightly less dense material that's produced by low-level explosive interactions between lava and the small water lake. And those islands are remnants of that. And we thought when the new eruption started last September, oh, they're going to get buried. We're never going to see them again. But to our surprise, within a few days, they floated back to the surface. And that's because they're less dense than the new lava that was getting erupted. And eventually, the buoyancy brought them to the surface. And we can still see them out there today. We can't see the biggest one, but you can see a couple of the smaller versions of those islands out here on the eastern side of the crater floor. As I said, initially the whole crater floor was molten except for those islands, but eventually it started to crust in from the edges. There just wasn't enough lava coming out to sustain that molten churning across the entire crater floor. So over the course of months, the crater floor is crusted up, and now there's only about a 3-acre in size lava lake that's still active lava down there. And unfortunately, we can't see it from this angle, but Keanakako'i and Ku'upina'i Pali can see it quite well because it's over on the west side of the crater floor. Now, the eruption hasn't been continuous since September. We went through a period in the springtime where there were some pauses, where whatever reason that we're still trying to figure out as scientists, we can't fully explain it. The eruption would just stop for a couple of days at a time and then renew. It didn't cause the lava lake to drop in any dramatic way. It would drain out from that active footprint, but it would just leave its walls, and there would be like a flat floor where the lava had once sat. But we haven't seen one of those pauses in quite a long time until last Tuesday, when there was another seismic swarm under the summit, and the entirety of the crater floor dropped by about 10 meters in just a few minutes last Tuesday evening. What we think might have happened there is that a sill was formed deeper below the lava lake and below the old crater floor, where lava was injected between layers that formed the subsurface of the caldera out here, and it took some lava out of the lava lake and forced it down below, and that's why we saw the surface drop. But since then, it is continued fairly steadily once again, and we see the slow rise that we had been seeing for most of the past year. The crater floor, as you see right now, we can't see all of it, but it's about 300 acres in size, continues to grow. Within several months, we think it's probably going to start overflowing onto the eastern downdrop block as it gets even higher. As to how long it will last, nobody's really sure. Pele's going to do what Pele's going to do. I think we're both happy to take any questions that you folks might have, but at least in terms of the prepared remarks, I think that was all I was going to say. Do you have anything else?
Nope.
Yeah.
That's everything I got.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for coming.
So how do the Hawaiians explain why the eruption stopped? Do they have an explanation?
Growing up, that's actually a funny question. Growing up, my tutu would say that Pele is just resting. And that she's busy. She got to take a little power nap. Back and continues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Years ago, we came and there was fog for several years, really bad. Why has it gone away?
So there is still some volcanic gas coming out, but it's not at the amounts that you used to see. The highest amounts we ever saw were during the 2018 eruption, when there were 100,000 tons per day coming out from the Lower East Rift Zone. Right now, it's putting out about 2,000 to 3,000 tons per day, and the old lava lake period from 2008 to 2018 would see about 5,000 tons per day. So we're a little bit less than both of those thresholds, and I think that's why the fog has not been quite as much of a nuisance in recent times as people remember.
The white smoke that's coming out, that's some sulfur, some steam, what else is it?
Sulfur, steam, hydrogen sulfide. A lot of the times when you think you're smelling sulfur, it's actually, it's not the sulfur dioxide, it's the hydrogen sulfide, which is detectable by the human nose at lower concentrations than sulfur dioxide, and you're smelling it at much lower amounts than would actually be dangerous of hydrogen sulfide. So I'm guessing that that's probably most of what we're seeing from the eastern side of the crater floor. But over there on the west side, a lot of that is probably the actual sulfur dioxide, and that's of course why the southwestern side of the crater is closed to the public.
So what's the air quality impact, and what do they do to mitigate it on the island? Is there any?
Well, we can't exactly put a plug in the top of the volcano, unfortunately.
Right, but so they don't take any steps to...
Well, the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory has a pretty robust gas monitoring system. We have a number of stations out there in the Kau Desert telling us what the concentrations coming out are, and there's some further afield stations run by the park and other agencies out in Pahala and Ocean View. And if concentrations were ever to reach like dangerous levels in those areas, there are recommendations to evacuate. Fortunately, that it hasn't reached those levels in a very, very long time. But it's possible that if a really large amount of gas was coming out, that could happen, and we would relay the message around that, hey, people, especially people with respiratory problems, should maybe reconsider going outside or staying in those areas at those times.
So this is a really in the weeds question that you may not know, but do the feds set NAC for anything that's coming out of this?
Wait, repeat that again? Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Does EPA set national ambient air quality standards for anything that's coming out of this? Like, I think they have a sulfur.
I think they do, but because it's a natural source, there's not much we can do about it. Like, because it's not like a power plant. They can actually take recourse against a power plant to like, hey, settle down your emissions. But yeah,
does it affect the state? Well, anyway, never mind.
Yeah. Maybe Jessica has a good answer to that.
I just wanted to point out,
Yeah.
and correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
like, the closer you are to the source, the higher the concentration.
Yep.
Hence the reason why this whole part has been closed actually since 2008 when lava returned to Hale Ma'uma'u. And we have air quality monitors that you can look at online on the Park Service website to tell you what air quality we're in right now.
The only reason I'm asking is because I work in air quality, so
It sounds
probably
like
no
it.
one else cares.
No, we care. We care.
No, I know. I just mean, you know.
Yeah, the closure area extends to about the Mauna Iki Trail, which is like halfway down the southwest rift zone, and there's a reason why it extends to there, because by the time that the gas plume gets out there, it's dispersed enough that the concentrations in any one spot are not really high enough to be dangerous.
So within our disaster recovery plan, it does outline some of that. Currently, we are in the process of just seeing if it's safe enough for us to go in and fix it, or even just to dismantle it. The main goal with the plan, however, is to dismantle the building and actually return it to as close of a state as possible for us to enjoy, being that particular area known as Ue Kahuna is a very special place to Kanaka Maoli, and we want to respect that and try to return it back.
Who services the webcam?
Huh?
Who services the webcam y'all were talking about?
That's us. There's a couple of them in the tower, the old tower on the building, but depending on what happens with the building, they may get moved to the radio tower or placed at lower levels out here on the crater rim. And then there's a couple other ones scattered around out here, but the main ones are up there.
Do you have any predictions, like with the other earthquakes around the Pacific Rim, when this one will go off again? Do you predict that at all?
There's not a lot of interaction between our volcano and the other stuff around the Ring of Fire because we're so well in the middle of the Pacific Plate. We're not really affected by the processes around the edges, which are all subduction zone volcanoes and subduction zone related earthquakes, whereas the processes here are a little bit different. It's called intraplate volcanism rather than interplate volcanism.
Oh, okay.
And that includes Mauna Loa?
Yep. It's kind of now. There may or may not be some interaction between Kilauea and Mauna Loa. There's some thought that maybe the magma reservoirs pressurize against each other at times. They don't share magma, but sometimes like the pressure on one might affect what's going on with the other. But in terms of interactions with other volcanoes further away in the Pacific Basin, not so much.
This is a dumb question, but what's the difference between a geologist and a volcanologist?
A volcanologist is just a specialized geologist.
So are you a volcanologist?
I mean, I use both interchangeably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
About a week ago, we read about increased activity on Mauna Loa. Is that continuing?
The earthquakes are, it has been going through a little bit of a swarm recently, but it hasn't reached levels that would merit raising the alert level. We're still at the yellow or advisory alert level for Mauna Loa, and it's not showing much of the other geophysical signals that we would expect if it was waking up in the near term. For example, the tilt meters are pretty steady, and the GPS instruments up there are also pretty steady at this time. Yep.
Has anybody reported finding Kilauea from this eruption on any of the Overlook?
Possibly, I don't know. Yeah.
What is the hair?
Blacks.
Oh.
Might be
Cool.
I don't see any of it right now. Yeah.
How high has the crater floor risen in the last year?
I think it's 143 meters higher than it was. I think yeah. I apologize that I'm doing all the units in metric. That's a scientist. So I'm sorry for that. I know that the crater floor after May of last year had an elevation of 743 meters, and I think it's at like 886 or something now. So I think it's 143. And that edge that you see there, where it's going to start overflowing more to the east, that's at about 900. Just for your reference.
So the recent eruption in Tonga, I think,
Mm-hmm.
that's a different type of volcano than Kilauea is, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So that's where the plates are actually.
Yes.
That's what causes the explosive eruptions.
Yeah, and when it's a subduction zone related volcano, that's the reason why there's a volcano there is because there's one plate of the ocean descending under another. It melts in the mantle, and then that magma migrates to the surface and erupts through one of the other plates. And when you're melting one plate, you tend to get more silicic lava than you do here at Kilauea. So it has more silica in it, and that makes it stickier and more viscous. It then traps more gas, and when it explodes, it's much more dramatic. The basalt we have here is fairly low in silica, and that's why the gas is able to get out more easily. Now, that's why we have a lot of sulfur coming out, but it's also why we don't have the really dramatic explosive eruptions that you see at some stratovolcanoes, for example. That's a great question. Yeah.
So does that mean this isn't like making the island bigger because it's not production?
Well, it can make the island bigger if lava is flowing into the ocean. It's not right now.
Okay.
You know, all the lava activity is contained here in the summit crater. But as recently as 2018, we put on 900 acres to the side of the island from that eruption.
So, if I understand, the main active then is about what, 3 acres or so?
The active lava lake, yeah, about 3 acres, yeah.
How thick is the crust? Like, because not the whole lava lake is, it's all solidified mostly.
Yeah, like the stuff we're seeing out here, you mean? That's a great question, and there's not really any way to know for sure, but just an estimate based on the fact that I've flown the USGS drone down there to look at it up close. There's very deep cracks in the surface. That would suggest that it's at least 10 meters or 30 feet or more down to the active lava. That's just a ballpark estimate. Yeah. It's not at like a thin layer where it's like a few inches under there. It's definitely more than that. Yeah.
How close can physically people get there, like you guys?
I'll leave that to the Park Service.
Yeah.
Oh,
How
you
close,
mean
yeah, like
us?
geologists. Yeah, how close do you guys get?
Well, most of our activity is up on the crater rim you see on the south and west sides. Occasionally we will helicopter on the eastern down drop block because there's a couple of instruments down there that we service. Yeah, sorry, I thought you were asking.
Helicopter directly to the just like cover of the I don't know where.
It's not advisable because when there's a lot of heat coming off of the lake, it means that the air is less dense and the helicopter has less lift.
Oh,
so and that's for the same reason I also when I fly the drone for official purposes, I don't fly it directly over the lava. I always stay off to the side because if you fly directly over, the heat could cause it to crash and to melt if you're close. Yeah.
That'd be a way to go though.
Yep.
So last year, when we watched the eruptions, it was kind of one cone being built, and oftentimes it would collapse down, and then we would like an open cauldron, and we would see it boiling out. And now at night, I see what looks like maybe two cones, but like just you see the glow at the top. I'm wondering, are there two, and if so, how big are they?
It varies. Like I probably go down there to the crater rim like a couple times a month, and it seems like it's different every time I go down there. There's one, there's three, there's two.
Do you think that one is like 90 feet? I mean, last year they were saying how high, and people were asking how high is that?
Yeah, that's a good point. And although the number of cones often changes, I've noticed a pattern in our data. Because when we fly the drone or if we're doing helicopter flights, a lot of the goal of that is to make a three-dimensional model of the crater floor with some of our photo processing. Almost consistently, regardless of how many cones there are, the highest one is almost always around 65 feet tall. So 65 feet, about 20 meters tall is where it usually comes out to. Yeah.
Now, do you ever go down and get samples of the lava?
It has not been done yet, but
So that can be informative, right? In certain
yes,
situations.
and the observatory is working on a safety plan to potentially go do that. It's going to become a lot easier once we start flowing onto the eastern side of the crater floor because we have well-established safety plans for getting in and out of that area. But landing on the crater floor, the crusted over lava surface is obviously a little bit more of a safety concern because of the gases down there. So
Well, we see these things on National Geographic with the guys with their suits and,
Yep.
and their, everything, and they drop them down, and they get the sample, and they, it's just interesting.
and that's really important to get those samples because when we can take the lava and use it for geochemical analysis and learn a lot about the processes going on in the magma chamber, depending on what minerals, what certain polymers and things are in the lava. It's very informative to us in terms of understanding the processes to get those samples. Yep, Jessica.
My question is for Hawai'i. When Pele's sister Namaka was in pursuit, what elemental form did she take?
Yes, so Namaka's elemental form is ocean water. So, correct me if I'm wrong on the date, but pre-2018, you would have seen lava flowing down into the water, and that collision, right, that impact of this really hot lava engaging with the ocean, right, that change in temperature, that's what it's talking about in that story, right? Namaka, the ocean, and Pele clashing, causing all this new creation to take place.
So when the water was down there, was there a new Hawaiian story told about that? Like Namaka
Sort of.
found her?
That akua, that's the term for the class of these types of characters in our stories, right? These ancestors, and that is Hi'iaka, right? So Hi'iaka is a bunch of different Hi'iakas, but one of them is a freshwater entity. So when there was the lake, and I thought about this when he was describing having that lake and then an explosive eruption because of it. Well, that kind of mirrors some of our stories where Hi'iaka and Pele do duke it out and have a very massive eruption and battle themselves.
Cool.
So what do you think she's going to do for the anniversary?
I don't know.
She's pretty fiery.
Pretty fire. She might put on a show. She might also surprise us and go to bed early. I don't know.
Doesn't sound like her.
You have to do a sacrifice first.
That's getting into the weeds, my friend.
Now we heard a different version from a different ranger that there were like some that she shot her
Interfamily.
sister in flagrante, basically. Is that not the correct version?
Infiltrate.
Like
Oh.
Had
engaged
an
with her
affair.
husband.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes. So, thank you. Sorry. Is that Spanish?
It's Latin.
Got it. Okay, house school. Anyways, sort of, right? So in the story where Pele and Hi'iaka have a big battle, it actually comes at the tail end of a love story between Pele and this man named Lohiau, who's this. You guys know who Jason Momoa is?
Yeah.
Alright, so basically picture Jason Momoa dancing around in Kauai. Pele sees him in a dream. It's like, oh my gosh, I want to marry him. Right, so she then goes through this whole process, and they engage within Pole, which is this other realm that people are able to engage into. But she sends Hi'iaka to get her, or to get him, right, Lohiau. And she tells Hi'iaka, like, listen, I'm giving you this time frame, okay? If you don't make it back in this time, I'm assuming that you're fooling around with them, and I'm gonna destroy your grove and forest. So Hi'iaka's like, oh, okay. Well, she gets there, and Lohiau actually, in some stories, committed suicide, and other stories, like, paralyzed himself from the waist down so he couldn't walk. So she's like, oh, great, I'm on a time crunch. Now I gotta heal you. So she uses some of her abilities and basically heals Lohiau. She then brings Lohiau over. But when you engage with someone like that, right, if you ever take time to care for somebody, you kind of develop these feelings, right, of aloha, right, to the person. So the time continues, right, and they are, I want to say maybe a day past the allotted time that Pele's like, you need to be back. And Pele's like, yeah, alright sis, you're late, and just destroys Hi'iaka's home and grove. Hi'iaka comes back with Lohiau, and as sisters do, and they have poor communication, they get into it, and they have a whole big battle, and in the story, it's described as Hi'iaka crawling down into the very heart of Halema'uma'u to try and extinguish the heat and fire that is her sister. So is that, I think that might have been the
Maybe.
one. Okay. There's a lot of stories
Yeah,
about that. She's a favorite of yeah.
So are these more stories of like awe, or are they supposed to be like, you know, obviously telling the story of how the lake came about, but like as a kid, like that would be like scary. Like that would be kind of scary, right?
Yeah, well, that's a really good point. So, Kanaka are very, very interesting people. And our stories, as you get older, you grow up with them, right? And as you get older, you're able to peel back these layers. And in Hawaiian, we have a thing called kauna, right? Which is the deeper hidden poetic meaning of something, right? So, within that story that I had mentioned earlier with the voyage, right? When you start peeling back those layers, right, we start seeing references of geologic or volcanic activity via the Hawaiian hotspot, right? Moving from island to island, causing things to start to grow. As we start looking at the interpersonal connections that we see between the characters, we can see it within our own lives and kind of see maybe we shouldn't burn down our sister's home on accident. Or maybe we shouldn't try to kill our sister because of X, Y, and Z, you know, or just be jealous from the beginning and recognize that, like, hey, families are families and love goes all around, but, you know, the little ones need a little extra time. So the stories start off in a way that stick to us as kamali'i, as children, and as we get older and mature, that's when we start peeling back the layers and be like, huh, alright, that's cool, I didn't know I knew that. And then turns out we kind of know it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what is responsible for the differences in density that you were talking about earlier?
So, for example, like that material that makes up the islands, like from that interaction of the lava from the first eruption and the water lake, it's just it's so fragmented that there's a lot of like void space in it, and therefore it's just naturally less dense. But also, it's notable that like as lava works its way across the surface of that active lava lake down there, gas is coming off of it, and that gas leaving it makes it less dense, and that's why once it rafts across that active lava lake, it dips down and fills in under the crust that we see here on the east side, for example. And it's able to do that because it's lost that gas, and it's made itself more dense and able to drop it deeper, more deeply down there.
Gravel over here. When did that happen?
Oh. I think a lot of this stuff that we're standing on is from the 1790 eruption. Some of the larger blocks might be from 1924, but I think most of this is 1790 here. Yeah.
Thank you.
What is this structure for?
So that is a triangulation station, and when Westerners first came here and tried to map the caldera, they would essentially set up a theodolite, which is a very precise surveying instrument, on top of this and shoot angles to various features in the crater and then do the same from a different spot. And based on the vectors, they could get very precise distances, and that was how they made the first topographic maps of this area back in like the late 1800s and early 1900s.
Could they measure the depth? How deep it is?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I wish I was more of an expert on it, but we have GPS now, so I don't have to do that stuff to measure it. Yeah.
I believe this dates from 1912.
There we go. All right. Yeah.
What's the significance of this location to
Well, for me, this is actually where I got to see the eruption the first night that it happened. So a year ago, the eruption began. Rangers were like, okay, we got to make sure that we have people out there that can interpret what's going on, help keep people safe. So this was, well, this kind of general area, the Overlook down there up to here. I'd really walk back and forth, and standing here and looking over, all I could think of is the stories that I grew up with, right? Of Pele Honua Man, all these different elemental forms and elemental processes that are happening. So this is really what it's talking about.
I didn't think about this until literally the second that you asked that question, but this spot. So I didn't give my full backstory. That I'm from the mainland, if you couldn't tell from my accent. And I came out here to be a volunteer at the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory in 2015, and I was kind of interested in trying to stay on the island, and I eventually landed myself a full-time job that was going to enable me to stay. And it was actually this spot that I walked up the trail to while I was on the phone with my mom, telling her, yeah, I'm actually going to move here. And she was really going to go like 5,000 miles away. And then a few months later, they came to visit, and they were like, okay, now we know why you're staying. So yeah, I guess this spot does have some special significance for me. Yeah.
Where are you from?
New Jersey. Yeah.
Where?
Yeah.
Where in Jersey?
It's like 164, Bergen County, north end of the state.
Wow, this is getting really intense. So, is there a way to see Pele? I don't know if that's pronounced right.
So we have a term called a Kilauea, right? And a Kilauea is a physical form that a kua can take, right? That class of characters. So some, but not all, of her forms are, and she got a lot. The lava itself, right? The gas that we see coming up from it, and as well as, and I don't know if we have any going on right now, but there are these white birds on Hawai'i, and they are associated with Pele Honua Man as a form. So maybe they'll come visit us. That these forms, right? They may not be like a physical form like you and I, but they are something that's tangible, right? That reminds us that, like, oh wow, hey, Pele.
So what about, it seems like she's often has anyone seen her as a woman, or is there a story about that?
In our stories, does mention her looking as a woman. The ones where it starts getting into Madame Pele, that's a different thing. But Pele Honoumea, right? Instead of just her physical appearance, it's also her nature, right? That her, we call it ano, right? Her being, like who she is. We all have ano, we all have lamena, right? How we hold ourselves, is very wahine, right? And I don't want to say feminine, because, right, the cultural constructs of those two things are different across different cultures, right? And wahine are typically very strong, very outspoken people that are also full of love, that help create opportunities for people, but also cut your line when you're getting a little ahead of yourself, you know? So it's in those aspects of Pele Honoumea that people, oh yeah, wahine, you know?
Standing back here, you haven't even seen the surface of the lava lake yet, so if you wanted to get closer, feel free.
You don't bite.
Yeah, maybe we'll wrap up the formal portion of the Q&A, but we'll probably be lingering around here a little bit more if you want to ask any questions. And just a big cheer because no helicopters came over the entire time. I don't know. We lucked out. Yeah.
All right, but yeah, come on, guys, come check it out.
Thanks, you guys.
Yep.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're a good storyteller.
Oh, thank you.
Nice to meet you in person.
Go around.
Lots of stories.
Everyone. Behind the image.
You're good?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, translation.
But you guys have too. It's been a nice media.
Thank you. They only wanted to
That permanent job was actually I worked there for a year and a half.
This talks about the lesson.
HBO hired me back initially as a
Well, he said they lost
trying to keep the sun off.
I was part of the RC.
But
I actually, I'm
yeah, I gotta get wet.
I was like,
He's digging out.
Another one, if you look at it, is
there were some people in the room.
Hey guys, we're still here. We're gonna keep filming. Let the stream run. Do a couple things. We're gonna move some cameras. We're gonna catch a couple more angles. Turn the mic around so that you guys can hear us a little bit better. But we'll keep rolling. So give us a few minutes and enjoy the view.
I have another one.
I was here in the building.
It comes all the way up to my hip, and that is a marking that talks about my
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. They're good stories too. That's storytelling on you. You know, that's pretty neat. Yeah, I like that. Some people just get them. Yeah, but yours has meaning to it.
Very good.
Yeah, the cattle eat but they're all
Yeah, just a bunch of meaning. Right. Yeah, because that's my people already left. I appreciate your story. You have a good one.
So how do the Hawaiians feel about like the Park Service being here? I won't tell.
What do you call the little mini things, you know, the glow?
Oh, stuff about the hornitos.
Hornitos.
Yeah. You can see a few of them from here. We think that the reason why the hornitos might be there.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Our plan is hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to video updating some discuss volcanoes on our information. This is our time update. We did that today.
Don't even show me the photo. Every photo I take is big. No, I was gonna say
Yeah, I can't get that out of there, so
Yeah, ditch it.
yeah, I'm just gonna do some filming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Aloha, everyone. Just a few minutes while we fandango with camera and our gear.
Yeah, we're still.
I'm looking. I'm looking at the
We're still
wrong
working out a
place.
couple of things. We're gonna get some cameras moved around.
Mhm.
Just got the mic flipped around, so maybe you can hear us all right.
I'm gonna dismantle one of my cameras and
Yep.
do some wandering.
Let her film. So, bear with us. Anything else?
Okay.
That's it
I'm
there.
could take this wire off, huh?
Yeah, you can clear the zone on that one. And let's get some other stuff up here. That's right. Thank you for the reminder, Tiggy. Hit that thumbs up. We're going to get some other things going here first. We need this up top. I am going to add something cool. Done. Done. One more.
So then now they're talking about two lights. So tech doesn't have to oppose.
Yeah, if you don't want to watch, if you don't want to
They
watch
can do two. So one eye can be looking at like and the other can be looking at that. And both of them are in unison.
So normally we only get to see the Jagger Museum, but today, since we got cameras pointing this direction, there's a volcano house. Kind of cool.
I paid so much money for that.
Wait,
No, just like generally like what comes out of. Well, I took it for marine science purposes, but they were like, "What's on the ocean floor?"
well, yes. On the ocean floor at the very beginning, because ocean plates spread apart. You actually get the salt filled so the audio was fine. Maybe a couple of times I was actually looking on the ocean floor. They're talking about
but then what comes out of these volcanoes?
we did have a little salt. This is mostly salt, some limited exceptions, but then like you go to the whole like last west or Cascades over. But I'm glad you guys got it.
Yeah.
I appreciate your questions about the gas. I'm sorry if I didn't.
I think she wasn't asking them from the perspective of like.
We can take
she's
sound
asking
bites
them from
if
like
you
a
want.
I'm an air quality lawyer, so I was probably.
I understood what she was trying to ask.
But anyway.
And why? And I'm an engineer, so I understood why it wasn't like.
Obvious. But yeah, well, I'm glad you get to work here. It was like a dream come true, huh? For geologists. So I just wanted to. Thank you so much.
It's a great shirt.
Have your cat a little bit tight.
Yeah, it means kiss kiss. What happened in that one?
There was a scene where a woman sang a song.
Push it down, but if you like it right,
Oh really? I didn't know that. I knew not. It's not the Prince song.
Oh, is it like a 60s song?
Yes. Yeah. It's like,
Actually, we're facing we're south, but we're mostly east.
Thank you.
right? We got a big bush right in front, big hedge, like tree, ohia, right in front of us to see that drop down on the other side. We're in a bad spot over here. It's the only spot we could set up.
I was feeling like. Did ask the question about the PA. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Because it was one of those, well, if we do it for one, we have to do it for everybody, and then it starts to be.
Good to see you. Have there been any days where it was getting a kind of
I mean, it's really nice, like on the wind, when there's no wind, like pancake clouds it, but we haven't had much. And then it's talking about like too, like, it seemed like there was like, some of them, but I think it was a malfunction. No contact. And so, like,
I don't think it's been months since my dad. Very pretty low.
Are you specialized in gases?
No, I do like GIS.
Hi guys, I'm here. I just walked off down to the other side real quick to take a few pictures. I'm sorry I didn't get to say hi and aloha to everyone. I'm back. Gonna set my cameras in the bag and I'll be right back.
Yeah, just let it go. It's okay.
We did some like very
I'm so sorry.
Here, let's see. Which one? I'm trying to look for which camera is where you can see me. Oh, it's not that one. I don't know where I'm at, you guys. Camera 2? No? Am I out of... Oh, there I am. It's a little far, that's why. Lou zoomed it all the way out. Hang on.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Hang on, guys. I just don't want to drop a camera. Just got you real quick. Sorry about that. Okay. Oh, now you're sorry. Oh, we can just move the cameras. I apologize for that, you guys.
No problem. I didn't even think it was, I didn't know it was taking pictures.
It's actually live. But, okay, you're out of the picture. You're good now. You're out of the picture now. I kind of zoomed all the way in, so you won't be able to see it if you walk by. But be famous on YouTube.
Oh, is that where this is?
Yeah, that's
on
on
YouTube?
yeah.
Is this the anniversary? This is the anniversary?
1 year anniversary.
1 year?
Yeah, of the Eruption from September 29th, 2021. Can't believe that. It passed by really fast. Yeah.
I was up here lots of years ago when Kelly was erupting.
Yeah, so 2018 one, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was here up in the 50s and 59.
Wow.
With my parents.
That must have been a nice sight, huh?
Oh my God. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Kind of scary at the same time.
Unexpected because we were staying up at the volcano house. Didn't
Wow.
but it's been 12 years since I've been back.
Welcome back.
My sister lives up here.
Very nice. The drier, warmer side.
Yes, we grew up on a rock in Kilauea. A little quieter. Not as hustle-bustle as
Yes.
like he was.
Absolutely, I'd have to agree with that one.
The weather, you don't know. have to watch visits. We were trying to get up here, so whatever they did.
Oh, yeah, we did about an hour presentation and just going over activity and what it's been like last year. The summary of. I accidentally got them on camera.
You what?
So we're just accidentally got them on camera. So I was just we were just. No, not at all.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm still here, you guys. I'm still putting my stuff away. Honestly, I can't find my lens cap, so I have to cover it with something. Hang on, guys. Bear with me. I'm so sorry. Just a lot of stuff to break down. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, now you guys can see me. I'm over here. I just got done packing all my stuff. It's down right here below my feet. And Lou and Phil's talking to the USGS guy over there on the other. Oh, you guys are okay. Would you like me to take a picture for you? Like me to take a picture for you?
You're welcome. Thank you.
Alright, I'm back. Let's see. Alright, let me scroll all the way up now that things are a bit calmer. Say Dawn. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong. Tiggy. Bo Diddley, Richard. Myself is in there. Laura, Sixth Sense, Amelia. Aloha everyone. Ed. L.A. Keller. Dawn. Marin. Thank you all for joining us. The Scream. Kathy. Aloha. Okay, who else here? Apologies if I do miss you guys. Dane, mahalo for the super chat. Thank you so much. Tim, aloha. Scott. Whoa, that was a long scroll. Whee! All right. Time to go exploring. Since we're here, I wanted to show you guys one thing before I go wander off to the camera. Please let me know if the volume is okay and if the wind is muffled a bit. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me clearly. I'm gonna get a clip of the guys. Okay.
So we're exploring some other solutions, like we might put other ones out here, like on the grid.
Audio's good.
And then, like, we've got some new money.
There, I'm spying. Dane, are you still watching? Just briefly. Thank you, guys. We're gonna do some spying on them, you guys.
think it's already zoomed out as much as it can go. So I think we would end up having, we'd have to buy like a we're always hesitant to move them or change the view because we want to be able to maintain like the long-term like time lapses. And so I think that's why we haven't like tried moving.
Hang on, guys. I'm gonna move the tripod a little bit.
Capturing active. But yeah, obviously the 6 is I know, yeah.
Benjamin, aloha.
I know our gas team is working on it.
Tiggy, don't make promises now. You still owe us a pom-pom video, remember? Okay, I'm gonna take it off of them before I get in trouble. Let's do this one, side-by-side view.
2018, there was 100,000 so 20 times as much as was coming out.
Okay, how about this, you guys? Let me know. Do you want me to leave that camera on to them chatting? Or do you want to see the caldera from where we're at here, since it's a different angle? Uh-oh.
I leave you alone, and this is what happens.
It was only briefly. I was like, let's spy on them. Dane's in there too.
Spy on them. Busted. That's what happens though when I leave. She takes over the cameras. So you gotta show it 5.
I don't know that we're going to be able to do that.
What?
Yeah.
It's only 4:16.
So behind the curtain, it takes me like 8 hours of prep for the show.
Come on. It'll be spontaneous.
Look at that.
I can be spontaneous, but I won't have any illustrations lined up. Oh, like 300 of them.
Yeah, all 300 of them. Let's see where we at here.
I already said hi to everyone.
Hey guys. So got a lot of
Phil's
questions
here.
answered. Not a lot of questions answered. I don't know.
Yeah, so is Ken in the chat still?
I don't
Maybe.
know. Let's see. 10-second delay.
I didn't see him.
No?
No.
Are you going to answer Ken's
Yeah,
question?
I saw him ask a question and I went and tried to get it answered, but it took me that long.
That was the ANSR question. Is that what it was?
INSAR.
INSAR,
Yeah. So the question was whether there was uplift detected in the INSAR in the recent events, and I think Ken mentioned 2 different sources, and he basically said that they can't really tell that well because the INSAR in the lava lake is always messed up because it's always changing.
Oh, right.
So you got to go look at the surroundings of it. And I did see in the south, kind of on the south and the west sides, some movement, but very localized near the summit. That's the answer when you do get to watch this again.
When you get to it?
Yeah. Someone tag him soon with a timestamp so you can
There you
notice.
go.
Yeah.
Somebody timestamp that. Let's go this way.
I'm on that cone there.
Oh, you're down there. I see you.
Mm-hmm. They're gone again. They're so funny. Oh, because Mizelle, great to see you. Mona, aloha. Apologies, I didn't see you. It's amazing, honestly, you guys. I said this in the beginning. We haven't been to this side in a long while, and in the daytime, it's just amazing, the view, how high that lava lake actually looks. The cone feels like it's right there. And apologies if we get occasional walk-bys because the camera's faced kind of like where the walkway is.
Did I miss something on copyrights? What's going on here?
Huh? What? What happened?
Hawaii Pod and Hawaii Tracker have exclusive rights to the stream. They get to go nuts with it.
Just to let you know, my wife found your reporting on Facebook. And
Oh, yes.
She showed it to me too. We both enjoyed it.
Oh, all right. What's your name?
I didn't touch anything.
I'm
actually just.
Mm-hmm. I can get this one over here. Let's see if we can get a shot out there.
Oh, Tim said he was asking for a volcano burst.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Volcano Burst also has exclusive rights to our streams. They're more than welcome to take it. So Tim, if you're still there, or VG, grab it and go. Sorry we didn't get all that out to you guys today.
We actually weren't quite sure if we were going to go live or not
Yeah, we
afterwards.
weren't sure.
Yeah. Sid, aloha. We missed you. It's always good to see you. Mike, aloha.
Mike, you're gonna need more than seatbelts. You're gonna need a Pez dispenser full of Dramamine.
I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, I have it in the car. Thank you.
You're welcome, Tim.
No, you're facing here. Where are you facing?
I was trying to shoot that crack over there. See how the
Where?
whole crack is open
Yeah.
up, but the shadow's on it.
Oh.
So I was gonna wait for the sun to.
Oh. Let's take a look.
After sunset, to see the glow.
See lava on this side. We'll probably keep hiking in on the other side.
This will be a nice picture in a couple hours.
Oh yeah,
There'll be
absolutely.
about 1,000 people.
Yep, and we'll be gone.
Yeah. So everybody goes, yeah. Have you seen the glow? I said, yeah. I go up usually around 11 o'clock at night and watch the stars, and then
Yeah.
Us too.
Yeah, that's how we are.
there's nobody there.
Yeah, we come in at 3 a.m.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
Where do you guys live?
Just down the road in Pine Acres.
Oh, okay.
Mountain View.
Yeah, I live in Pahoa. So
Oh, yeah.
we're neighbors.
Yeah, not too far off. Bottom of Maku or
Yeah.
one time. That's a one-time dip in that area.
That's right. Well, here, let me stamp your.
Yeah, somebody I just saw on
Couple
Big Dog.
weeks.
Was it a couple weeks ago?
Last month.
Oh no, not that was pretty awful. But this one here was just a couple days ago. Somebody else was maybe spearfishing.
I found some people last time I hiked down to Shipman. I heard people going, "Are you on the trail?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Where are you? We're lost.
They're lost in the
Well,
jungle.
How'd you get lost? Well, it was really muddy, and we were trying to go around the mud.
Oh,
I said,
my gosh.
"Well, you can't go around the mud. It's all mud."
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah, that trail can get sloppy.
Oh God. So you guys are videoing it?
Yeah, we're actually live streaming right now on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we've done all the streams for USGS in the park for the last 2 weeks. And
Nice.
we come up and do our own streaming usually in the mornings. 2 pineapples. Can't miss us.
Go ahead. Just keep telling you tuckered out. You should maybe sit down for a minute.
Well-
Perhaps have a break.
Yeah.
Here, let me get you some water.
You're so nice. Thoughtful of you. It's like we can hear you
How can it be
talking.
work
People are
when
watching.
you're doing something you love?
Yeah, that's right.
My career was the same way, so. So yeah, I came up to look at the golf course.
Oh.
I could tell the weather is changing on the mainland because I'm starting to get inquiries. Are you gonna be
I'm
around
gonna change
in
the view a
November?
little, you
Are you
guys.
gonna be around in December? Hey, I'm gonna come over in January.
When it's frozen there.
Yeah.
Go this
So what
side.
part of the mainland were you from? Are you from here?
Northern California.
What part?
Chico.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta wait till
Close
he
friends
has
with
free
Arcata.
hands to help me move.
My wife here, she's from Sacramento.
Sack of tomatoes. Yeah.
Right.
I like that. That was funny.
But I left there in 90.
Huh?
I left there in 90.
That's how long you've been here?
Yeah, long
Good for
time.
you. My first visit to here was 92. But that was after all the other islands. That's when I fell in love with this one.
This is a great island. Are you on that camera?
I'm on this.
Yeah.
This one right here. The other one's down at the cone. I'm gonna go down there.
Go ahead. Grab it.
How many cameras do you guys need?
4 usually.
And it's for 4 different streams, or?
No, 4 different views.
Oh.
So sometimes we lose view on one thing, we move to another camera, and maybe it's on us.
And just in case we get catch surprises.
Yeah, we never know what we're gonna catch. So.
Well, it would have been good if you would have been here. Were you here a year ago?
We were actually in South America filming and touring for 4 months when this re-erupted.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't get back until January.
So you were where?
South America.
Latin America.
Colombia.
It's a big place.
It is.
Yeah.
Colombia,
Peru,
Brazil, and almost 3 weeks on the Amazon.
That is awful.
Yeah.
That you guys have to do that.
It was horrible.
What happened? What happened, you guys? You guys.
There's some guy bothering you while you're
It
working.
was Chico. You guys are so funny. They're just listening to me.
I
I'm
know,
just
listen
reading
to
the
me
chat.
talk.
They're so funny.
Yeah.
I was just reading everything that they were all saying. Dane's still in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's from Quincy.
Do you ever write
Yeah.
back to him?
Sometimes
I'm really good at that. You don't have a driver's license, do you?
No, I'm not
When they
allowed to
ask-
drive.
When they ask stupid
DG,
questions.
aloha.
You aren't driving on the highway, are you? Perhaps I could interest you in one of my life jackets for the gene pool.
There's that. Hey Dane, can you see this pop up? Let me move it here to a different spot. Come on, come on.
Your nubbies. There it goes.
I want to put it down here, but she doesn't want to go because it's a weird size. Philip sent it to me.
It's my fault?
Yep.
No.
It's your fault.
It doesn't have to
full
be somebody's
responsibility.
fault.
For
It's part of the world. Part of the reason why the world's all effed up. Has to be somebody's fault.
There we go. We got pod and tracker logos up there.
we all share it.
See if you guys can see that. I gotta put a white screen behind wide tracker so it stands out a little bit. I'm gonna make my way to the bathroom. Don't screw up.
That's so rude.
Just makes me want to screw up on purpose.
Right?
Oh, I didn't know, man. I'm sorry. My bad.
Oh, let me see the chat here.
Are they supposed to stay on the whole time?
Sometimes I just go browsing and show them other spots, but I need a couple extra hands in order to move all of this some way or the other. I'll wait till he's settled down a little bit.
All right, well, enjoy. The masses will start arriving soon.
This is within the next hour, I believe. No? I don't know if Lou wants to stay till sunset or not. Did he mention anything like that? No.
God, I went out the other morning, the sunrise. It's just like, wow.
Sunrises up here are awesome.
It sure is. Everyone's asking what is your name.
What?
Everyone wants to know what's your name.
What my name is?
Yeah, they're listening to our conversation.
Oh,
So they.
It's Uncle Earl. Tom.
Uncle Earl, he says.
It's Uncle Earl.
Aloha to Uncle Earl.
From Paoa.
Mm-hmm. Mahalo, BG, for the super chat. Appreciate it.
I guess it makes sense now that I see the microphone there. Like, how are they? What are they talking about? Who is that?
Now it's clicking.
I forget everything's on camera now. I was in London, and it is there's more cameras in London per square inch than anywhere in the world. So if you think you're getting away with something, you may want to think again.
I need to move some.
All right, you guys. Good
Okay.
to talk. Thanks for
too,
visiting.
Enjoy your evening. Okay, let me see here. Let me take it off of. That's the vent over there. I'm gonna go just to the vent. Okay. That way I can show them this big old crack over here.
What do you think about a present reach? You might be able to put one tripod on top of this.
Yeah, but I get in trouble for moving cameras. I always get in trouble.
That's what he meant when he said don't screw up?
Yes, because I always move things around, but it's fun. Or sometimes I accidentally unplug the wrong wire. I do it all the time, but he does that too. He makes mistakes too. I just thought that this was kind of cool here on this side.
Yeah, different angle and
Yeah.
cracks. Yeah.
Let's see here, see if they can see that. I show you guys over here where I zoomed on old cracks. And looks so different from this side, right? Anything planned for the evening? Hang out with the family. Probably gonna go. We're a bit tired. We were kind of tired this morning, so we started what we were supposed to start late, and then he went to 8 p.m. yard at shipment and got some lumber and came home and so couldn't quite get all of our things together till the last minute, and then we went right past the gas in Aloha gas station there. I'm like, oh no, tripod. So we had to go around and turn around. Yeah, that was a
Very
bit
tricky when
yeah.
Especially when you have this much gear.
Yeah.
That's always a lot of practice is that, right?
We're looking for a different frame like this, so that we could try to see if we can attach it in one spot, and then have the cameras be able to maneuver instead of having four.
Yeah, you just need a bit of, like a plate, like a bottom plate that can attach on those.
Yeah.
Which are made, I'm sure you can find them.
Yeah, we'll eventually find it.
No, what you do is you print them out. January, February, March, April. Make your own calendar.
You guys, Phil is still here if you want to ask him any questions. I'm sure he's willing to answer questions, huh? Maybe.
Yeah, I can give it a shot. I get tired of hearing myself, so I'll just shut up for a little while there.
Oh, that sun's pretty toasty.
Kilauea over there is. We'll point at that at some point.
Where? Am I looking?
Just like zoom into the, you know, like, yeah, that's the crater everyone likes to walk through down over there, yeah, with their big golden hill on the right.
Yeah, you could do this.
It's
I
right,
don't
right there.
I can't even see.
It's just.
Can you see? Okay. Phil's taking over the camera so he can show us the trail. Kilauea.
Kilauea is just a different angle from people often see from the side.
Yeah. That's a great idea. Chris Kiki, aloha.
Kiki is my little nickname for Kilauea. I think of you every time. I think of Kilauea, I see Chris Kiki, so yeah. There's Kilauea. So that brown hill on that right side, that's the Pu'upua'i, that's the cinder and spatter cone that formed from the fallout of the lava fountain. And that was the tallest fountain that was measured in Hawaii. It was in 1959, 1,900 feet high, which is about 5 times the height of that brown-looking hill. So that's would have just been like the sand pile at the bottom of the giant jet that shot into the air, right? Most of it, from this angle, would have been in the pit of Kilauea. If we can't quite see the floor, you see that forested back crater wall, and you see some forest in the foreground on a kind of flattish spot. That's the spot that's called Byron's Ledge. And behind that is the crater, so you can't quite see the crater floor from here, but that's where all the lava lake filled up. That the trail goes down and around, and so from this angle, that back wall with all the greenery at the top of the rim, that's where the lava tube is. Nahuku, also known as Thurston Lava Tube.
It's different
So
from this side, huh?
That's what's all over there, yeah. And if you look from this angle, and let's see, maybe I can zoom it out a little bit here, because what you can tell looking at the horizon from this angle is like that is actually the highest point of the volcano. Cool. Right, if you look at the horizon, it actually slopes upwards, and that upper horizon there is actually an old lava shield, and that Kilauea crater collapsed in the middle of that lava shield long ago, 600 years-ish. Likely when the main caldera was also collapsing, because Kilauea really is a little piece of the main caldera, that piece of a forested strip of land in between actually sank in. It's one of these slivers of land like we see here in the foreground, but an old one that slipped in that's now all the way forested, but it's just as cracked as this thing that we see in front of us that's not forested.
Amazing. I mean,
yeah, that's the old shield of Kilauea. So when the lava was flowing down towards all of South Puna, you know, HPP, acres, forest, all those areas that a lot of us live in, it was coming from that location, from that lava shield, going downhill before that hole was there.
That's hard to imagine.
Or this hole in front of us, because this hole in front of us also wasn't a hole, it was also a big shield. Picking up that, right? So while I have the camera, let me point to one more shield.
We're getting educated.
Oh, good. You're getting educated?
Trying to mess
Everybody loves it.
All right, let's see.
While you guys do that, I need to get something else going here.
Right here, zoom way in back against that back wall. So there is another lava shield. That's Mauna Ulu. Looking back over there, that was the site of the eruption that went from 69 to 74. You can see that nice low profile building up, and let's see how far this thing will actually zoom in. Cause I got pretty good. Let's see, down a little bit there. Oops, sorry. Yeah, so at the very top there's a crater up there still, and that crater has all these nice lava features that we're zoomed into here. And that was where there was a lava lake, mostly from 72 to 74. And that lava lake would come and spill over, and that's what formed that big feature that wasn't there before. Ulu is growing, so Mauna Ulu is a growing mountain. When it was named by the new arrivals, you know, there's a. Since then, we know that you really can't be naming any little hill a mountain, but too late for that one. So Mauna Ulu, I'll zoom it back out.
That looks pretty cool.
There's a strip of dead trees between here and there. That's the kind of Keanakako'i area walk. from there. Yeah.
Oh, a little clumsy. I'm looking over here. Wow.
So let's see, from here, the Keanakako'i viewing area is just to the side, right over there. Let's see if I can get it centered and zoom in there. All right, I'll bring him back to your tracks.
See where you're going.
Maybe let's go look at that little steam vent that's popping out of that line.
Oh, right up here, huh?
Put it on something people can talk about.
Cool.
We seem to see more steam early in the morning.
Yeah.
Really.
Definitely, yeah.
Once that sun starts coming up just a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're right. Overall,
Yeah.
you usually see some steam coming out of this whole section.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I probably should pull up some of those old, like I took a bunch of video September 2018 and pull it up sometime and compare it, because I mean, we're really like the frogs in the boiling pot of water, right? Like we see the change happen in 1 month, another month. You go back and look 2 years, you're like, it can be really shocking, like how much something is different. It's like, oh wow,
Yeah,
I
we were
forgot how much
actually
steam
just
there was
talking
here.
about that.
Oh, I forgot how tall that cliff used to be, or because we see it incrementally changing week by week by week by week. Someone who checks out and checks back in 6 months later, is pretty obvious to them. Like, what do you mean you didn't notice that?
Hey, what you working on?
I'm trying to get the 247 up.
You guys hear that?
There was a question for me back here somewhere. Let's see if I missed it.
I'm scrolling too.
Oh, here, a question from Mrs. Lobabob. I'm not sure if that's
Yeah,
how I should say it.
I usually just call her Miss L.
Miss L?
We always
Looks like Lobabob to me.
Lobabob, yeah, Lobabob. Say that
Lobabob.
about 5 times. I can't. That's why I'm worried. I don't want to butcher it.
So the question is: a lava lake going to overflow, and if so, when? Well, I guess first we need to talk about what the lava lake actually is, right? Because that can be confusing. The whole crater floor is what I usually refer to lava lake, and I think that's what she's referring to also as the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the geologists were just telling us recently that they've now started to refer to it as the crusted crater floor, and the lake is to them now only that smaller active pit where the lava is circulating. So in that case, that little one hasn't overflowed in a while because it's lifting up with a crater floor, but the whole thing itself is filling in, and the rates haven't slowed down really at all. That's much more evident now since the event last week, and all the GPS and tiltmeters have updated a little more. So it's pretty clear that the volcano has a lot of magma coming in and it's still filling up at the same rate as before. So there it does vary a little bit more, a little bit less. We actually lost some volume last week, so we have to make that up again. That might have set us back a month, possibly, from what I saw. I think it set us back.
Yeah.
I think it set us back a month.
That little dip from the update.
Yep. Yeah. So that was always the one thing that could throw up all the projections, right? I've been talking about how it could actually possibly overflow into this down drop block that we get a good view from this angle. And we were saying by Thanksgiving, and now it might be by Christmas because we're a month behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. It got set back a month. Which has always been the caveat. It's always been like, if things don't change, and they didn't for a long, long time. And the real where that conversation leads is, are we at a point where we're going to have more of these intrusions, these events that could actually cause it to drain a little bit, right? Where it's filling more space underground, where it's not going to just keep continually filling. It's actually going to inject a little bit or intrude here, intrude there, and settle more, and we might get set back another month and 2 months from now, or that kind of thing. And suspect, because we have had an intrusion happen, maybe not every week or possibly even every month, but more than once a year, which is what we've seen it so far, once a year. Like we saw it before this eruption, we saw it before the last eruption, and last week was the one that breaks the pattern. You know.
Is there anything from this side? The winds are actually blowing the other way.
Which is awesome.
An hour or two. Anything else, babe? I just changed the screen. Spinning.
This thing's been here since 1912. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, probably built by Jagger and his rabble.
His what?
Chris, Kiki, mahalo. It's actually it's a privilege to have Phil hang with us this last couple of streams. Thanks to Hawaii Pod and Hawaii Tracker for giving us the opportunity to stream these national park events. And his knowledge is always appreciated.
Here we go.
What kind of stags is actually still in there?
Oh, there you go.
I just saw him in there.
All right.
All right.
It took a while for me to be able to find this question, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of things going on. And a presentation at the same time.
Ken, did you hear the answer that you gave the answer, didn't you, Phil?
I did,
Yeah.
Best I could, anyways. Best answer for me.
All right, testing that camera out. All right, we got that one back up. Everybody's ducking. Sissies.
John Singer says the gas plume from the far
Here you go,
wall
Phil.
looks a
There's a
lot
question.
more yellow than the one from the floor. Thoughts? Which one is? I'm guessing far left. Let me see on the screen. Oh, on this side, huh? I think it's just the angle and the color. Does the gas? Can you see? I can't. The sun is right in my eye.
So, in this one frame is what he's talking about.
It
So
looks-
yeah, so the things behind on that back wall, there is a lot of sulfur that's built up on the wall itself more, and and depending where the gas is coming out, I mean, that lava lake's 200 acres, 300 acres almost, right? So there's a pathway in there that could have happened before where it made the wall more yellow. I mean, even on the crater floor, right? There's like some of those areas are more yellow than others.
And over here, look. I'm usually just looking here, and he's looking at that screen.
It's like having your station, right?
Mhm. What's the frame rates? Oh, someone said it's buffers, cuts in and out here and there. Stream froze while Phil was talking.
Alright, you guys, I better head out and back to my station. Working my video.
Right. We got a few more minutes. Let me jump on the camera here. We'll let Phil wants to make sure our frames are keeping in because we're bouncing all the place.
Yeah, that's it.
Had a good time?
Yeah, it's always good to come out. Great day.
Yeah, 1 year anniversary. Cool stories.
Cool
Right?
stories.
USGS had some good stories.
It was quiet. It was peaceful. It was kind of a celebration. It was awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Dane, thank you for hanging in the background, trying to keep things together. Got a little wonky here and there, I guess, with the frames and stuff, but we hold it together. Anna's over there, so she's out of the frame.
You guys take the show. Come on, do it.
With that, we will say thank you. Hit the thumbs up, share us out. I'm Lou. Anna's over there. Phil Bong. Dane's in the background. Hawaii Pod, Hawaii Tracker. We're Two Pineapples. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. If you're watching a replay, comment below. Everything to boost the algorithm helps us. I'm about to walk over there and I see the go live button. I'm going to hit the 24/7 and get that back and going. So once you get out of here, jump over there, hit that thumbs up. Help us keep paying the bills. Thanks, everybody, all our subscribers, all of our members. Hey, the subscribe button's free, isn't it?
Yes.
Big red button, hit that one there.
Thumbs up is free.
Thank you to all the super chatters and all of our members, mods, for holding things together. Have a great day, everybody.
Aloha.
Did you want to say anything else?
Aloha.
Are you ending this one?
I'm going to in a few minutes. Shut the mic off.